Alright, move on to the next episode, which is the long game. Okay, yes, still haven't cleared off the desk yet. I'm getting there. I cleared a couple things off. I'm still in the middle of moving things around right now. But let's talk about this episode, alright? So, the long game. The long game. Well, what can I really say about this episode? Following such a great episode like Dalek, this one, well, it's a bit of a letdown. The Doctor, Rose, and Adam land in the year 200,000, where they're on a satellite 5, I think it's called, and they find a world. What was it? The fourth modern human empire, or something like that. And they find that all is not what they seem. You got the villain in this episode, the editor, played by Simon Pegg, who was great, of course, and he worked for the Jagrafest, which is this big creature that lives in the ceiling, and the mouth comes down and everything, and they have all these computer chips in their head that at default you go like this and it pops open, and so I don't understand the turn of the character of Adam in this. All of a sudden, like in the previous episode, he said all he ever wanted to do was travel the stars. Now all of a sudden he wants monumental gain from it, or monumental, whatever you call it. He wants to gain stuff from it, which to me makes no sense whatsoever. Being it, all I want to do is to travel the stars, and now all of a sudden they've written in where he wants to gain from this he uses the phone that, Rosa's phone they can call anywhere, to call his mother and leave messages about the future. And one of them he tries to download. It's a chip put in his head, and he activates it, and he tries to send back the sound that it makes, saying he can translate it. And, well, I don't know. But Doctor and Rose get captured. There's this thing, it's called a promotion. You go up to 400 or 500 and you get promoted. But it's really not a promotion, as you just become slaves to this Jagraves. And eventually, Kathika, who is played by the actress who plays Lynn Pierce on Black Lightning. She had cornrows here, which is kind of weird because I'm used to her just having short hair. I'm not a big fan of Black Lightning, to be honest. I never liked the whole racism angle they did with that show. I understand it's an African American lead, but you don't need to lean into racism. I don't like racism, and I don't think it should be put on a TV show. I understand, I haven't read the comics, maybe that's what that comic is about, but I watched half of season 1 and I had enough. I got tired of all the racism stuff. Like, I couldn't, I didn't want to deal with it, So I stopped watching. People said it's gotten better, but I just don't watch it. Anyway, here, she's a character that basically learns that she has to stop following orders. She wants to be promoted, and I don't get this at all. She shows up, she sees what happens. She sees what other people happen when they got promoted, right? And so she saves the day by hooking her chip up to the thing and melting everything around, because there's so much heat generated by the Jagraves that it has to be cool up there, but it starts to melt and the Jagraves dies. But what she says when she activates is, "This is for not giving me promotion," or something like that. "You should have promoted me." I'm like, bitch, if you've been promoted, you've been dead. What? That's a stupid line to say at this point. Especially that you've seen what's happened to people who were promoted. But I digress. So the doctor leaves Adam back home. Does he delete the messages? Because I don't think he does. And he leaves a note with a chip that can activate when he snaps his fingers. And he says, well, I've got a chip in my head. I've got knowledge of the future. And he goes, if anyone sees that, you'll be dissected. You know? But also, so the doctor specifically goes off on Adam for trying to get information that could change the future. But by leaving Adam in the past, and my point is proven at the end of this, leaving him in the past with a chip that can be activated, or that can be, shown when they go like this, it's not a good idea. Because just by him having that chip, if anyone snaps their fingers, that pops up, and he's screwed. And even if he's experimented, that technology is in his head. If they extract that technology from his head and they figure out how to use it, then history changes. So the doctor, by leaving him there, has proactively changed in history. In some way, shape, or form. It will happen. And we see this when his mom comes home and she snaps her fingers for some reason, and you just hear the thing pop open. And she goes, and that's how it ends. The doctor made a bad decision. I know the writers wanted to do this with the character, but it makes no sense to leave him there with the chip in his head. As he said, he's got a chip in his head. That's future technology. And technology that can be activated by snapping your fingers. And it's not just his own fingers. Anyone snapping their fingers can activate it. This is proven at the end when the mom does it. He's going to get experimented on. They're going to take that technology and it's going to change history. And ironically, the next fucking episode, Father's Day, is about changing history and how it's wrong to do so. Yet, they never come back to this. As far as I know, they never come back to Adam. They never come back to this head thing. Never. And it makes no sense. That this does nothing to the timeline, and it should. This episode is frustrating in that point. Everything leading up to this was okay, but the last, where she snaps her fingers and it opens, leads me to think that they should have returned to this. Adam never came back. They never returned to this story at all. Nothing. Just nothing. It's infuriating. It really is. But, when you come from such a great episode like Dalek, and you get to this one where it's just meh, you're going to get those episodes. Especially after a great episode like Dalek. But, yeah, this was fine. Yeah, the ending aggravates me because the doctor is proactively doing what he tried to prevent Adam from doing. And if he didn't delete those messages, they're still there. He can still do something with them. So I don't know, but yeah. And I don't like how Adam's character changes like that. Where he just wanted to explore the stars and now he's trying to gain from it. I don't know. Maybe they just decided we don't want this character on here anymore. Maybe it was just supposed to happen that way. I don't know, but it's confusing. So, I don't know. But, we move on. Next episode, Father's Day. I think it's a good episode. We'll see. But until then, let me know in your comments below. Let me know in the comments below what you think about this episode. That being... anything about the episode, let me know in the comments below. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. I've been Scotty. I'll see you in the next one, which hopefully will be at the desk. I hope.